In today's session of Visual Jforex, I will be continuing with the demonstration of algorithm development using the indicator named time series forecast. This is the third part in which I will be completing the setup in we are going to build now the sell side. So let us head to the Visual Jforex board, which has been developed by the Dukascopy Bank SA. This is the setup so far. We have added the instrument subscription. The default instrument has been set as USD JPY. Then the position amount defined 0. Then I got these time series forecast blocks of 15 minutes each. Historical candle blocks 15 minutes each and then 10 seconds. And then to define the condition of minimum volatility of at least more than 3 pips, I have done this calculation. And to look at the actual difference between the closing and the opening price for the last 15 minutes candle, this difference has been derived, and using these variables, then these if else statements have been defined where the conditions which are needed to be in place before the execution of the trade have been defined. So this is the buy side. In today's session, I will be working to design and develop the sell side, and I will explain to you logic using the Jforex chart. Here this is the Jforex platform, and for the sales side we need the time series forecast values to be on the decline, and in last 15 minutes there should be substantial selling momentum that requires the closing price to be less than the opening price by at least more than 3 pips, and prior to that the penultimate candle should have closed above this time series forecast with its closing value being above the opening value, and then after that correction the reversal of trend is happening with good enough momentum, as we are working with the trend and we will be trading with the trend. So here the time series forecast is being used as a trend defining parameter where its value should be in decline, and after that the one more condition is going to be that this closing value needs to be lower than this TCF value. So we are now heading back to the Visual Jforex board. We will need to carry out one calculation where we will have to look at the difference of these candle 18's closing and opening value. This time around we want the calculation to be inverted. This time we will be deducting the closing value from the opening value to find the difference, and for that I will be taking this calculation expression block and here candle 18's and now we will look at the opening price and the closing price, and this A1 minus A2 sell side candle difference. Okay, I will disconnect this and join it here, and this difference needs to be greater than this difference which we have defined at 3 pips. Okay, this has been joined now. Now I will use a if else block. We need the TCF values to be in decline. So the immediate TCF value, line 13, needs to be lower than the TCF value with the loopback period of 5. So this first input less than second input, and then we will look at the historical candle close of candle 18, and candle 18's closing value needs to be less than line 13. First input less than second input, and we want the candle 19, which is the penultimate candle, to have closed above the the TCF value, time series forecast value, for that point in time, which is line 29. The candle 19's closing value needs to be greater than line 29, and also we need candle 19's closing level to be greater than its opening level. That means there was some buying there. So we are looking at the retracement against the trend we have defined using these time series forecast values, and after that retracement there should be again selling, which we are defining using this closing difference for candle 18. Now let us look at the candle 19's, and its close needs to be greater than its opening value. It's taking a bit of time. Let me see if there is something wrong with the network. Okay. So candle 19's close needs to be greater. First input greater than second input. Alright, and then comes the condition of enough of volatility, enough of momentum, and for that we need the difference between the opening and the closing to be greater than 3 pips. So here first input again greater than second input. So we have now defined these 5 conditions. Okay, now we need to look at the exact entry point, and which is going to be whenever the price starts to drop below the last 15 minutes closing value, and for that we will use 2 more if else statements and compare the 10 seconds candle of candle 20 and candle 21 respectively we need candle 21's closing to be above candle 18's close. Candle 18 is last 15-minute candle. To make it easier to understand, I will put candle 18 in the second variable only. Okay. Now candle 21 has shift value of 2. That means its closing needs to be greater, and candle 20 has shift value of 1, and its closing needs to be less. So here this should be first input greater than second input, and in this case first input less than second input. Now we bring in open at market. This is going to be a sell trade, and we will have to define the parameters for the stop loss and the target price. And we will want these parameters to be identical with the buy side as well. So here we are going to use static values. This time around we are not using variables. Lot amount for this session I am defining it at 0.1 million. You can change it as per the equity in your account. Limit topics is good enough. Stop loss, given the fact that we are working with the 15 minutes time frame, I think stop loss of 5 minutes should be sufficient. And to make the risk reward ratio of at least 1:2, the target price is going to be of 10 pips. So this is the sell side, and let me check if we have defined the conditions in a symmetric manner or not. These conditions need to be symmetric for both the sides, buy as well as sell, and I think we have satisfied that condition as well. So that's it from my side for today's session. I think I have forgotten to join this. Okay, and to make sure the flow is going through, I will color code this to shake it. Yes, it looks good. Everything is passing till trade execution order. So all this condition, whenever these conditions will be fulfilled, the trade will be executed. And I hope you have been able to understand the logic behind it and how you can define and develop the simple algorithms using this indicator, the time series forecast. Thank you all for joining in new session. We will be working with some new indicator. Till then, goodbye.